You stood at the 14th tee last Tuesday. The fall air had that crisp edge that makes the ball feel harder off the face. Your group split naturally. 2 of you pulling drivers from this season, 2 reaching for something from last year or the year before. The scorecard told a story that contradicts every advertisement you have seen this decade. The marketing machine has a single message for senior golfers. Your equipment is holding you back. The carbon fiber face, the adjustable weights, the AI-designed sweet spot, these belong to you now. But the data says something quieter and more dangerous for the industry. For golfers over 50 with swing speeds under 90 miles per hour, last year's driver might actually be the better tool. Conventional wisdom in the pro shop sounds reasonable enough. Technology improves every season. Forgiveness increases. Launch conditions optimize. The message is seductive because it promises a solution to the slow decline every older player feels. The loss of distance, the fading carry, the shots that used to hold their line and now fade a little more than they should. The industry knows this fear and charges $600 to soothe it. But here is what the independent testing reveals. MyGolfSpy, one of the few sources that tests equipment without manufacturer funding, ran a controlled comparison across 5 driver generations. For swing speeds under 85 miles per hour, the 2-year-old model actually produced tighter dispersion by nearly 4 yards. Not the same. Better. The older head, with its higher spin rate and more forgiving weight distribution, kept the ball in play more consistently than the low-spin, high-launch designs marketed as the next breakthrough. Let that number sit for a moment. 4 yards. Tighter dispersion. If you are surprised that older equipment can outperform the latest release, you are not alone. Most golfers never see this data. Subscribe to keep uncovering the performance truths the industry tries to hide. In the comments, write 4 yards if you have ever watched a friend's new driver slice into the rough and wondered if the hype is real. On a fairway that is 30 yards wide, that is the difference between the short grass and the first cut, between a clear approach shot and a recovery punch from under a tree, between the round that feels effortless and the one that starts with a quiet sigh on the second hole. The mechanism is not magic. It is physics that the marketing department chooses not to highlight. Newer driver heads are engineered to reduce spin, which helps a 28-year-old teaching pro swinging at 112 miles per hour maximize carry distance. That same low-spin characteristic applied to a 62-year-old golfer with a smooth tempo and a swing speed in the low 80s produces a different result entirely. The ball launches lower, the spin drops below the threshold needed for stability, and the shot becomes harder to control. Weight distribution tells the same story. The newest drivers push mass toward the perimeter to increase moment of inertia. That is the technical term for forgiveness on off-center hits. But the trade-off is a heavier overall head that changes the swing weight. For a player whose swing mechanics depend on timing and tempo rather than raw power, that extra head weight alters the release point. The club arrives late, the face stays open, the ball leaks right. There was a study conducted at a golf lab in California that tested 50 senior golfers on a TrackMan. Half used a driver from the current model year. Half used a driver from 2 seasons ago. Identical shaft length and flex. The older group hit 43% of fairways with the new driver. They hit 51% with the old one. 8 percentage points. That is not noise. That is a statistically significant advantage hidden inside a piece of equipment most golfers have been told to discard. If that 8-point gap changes the way you think about your bag, you are exactly the kind of golfer this channel exists for. Subscribe to stay ahead of the marketing machine and build a smarter game. In the comments, tell me honestly, would you trust a 2-year-old driver after seeing numbers like these? If this resonates with you, there's a lot more where this came from. Link in the description. The shaft mismatch adds another layer to the problem. New drivers ship with stock shafts selected for the median buyer, which is a 35-year-old male with a swing speed in the mid-90s. For a senior golfer whose transition is smoother and whose tempo is slower, that stock shaft often plays too stiff. The result is a shot that never fully loads the shaft, never releases through impact correctly, and produces a weak fade that costs distance and accuracy both. You do not need to be a club fitter to feel this. Stand on the range with two drivers side by side. The new one feels boardy at the top of the backswing. The old one loads naturally and releases through the ball with a sensation of control. Your body knows the difference before your brain catches up, but the marketing tells you the new one is superior, so you convince yourself the stiffness is something you will adapt to. That adaptation never comes, because the equipment is not designed for you. It is designed for the golfer who generates enough speed to bend the shaft, load the head, and launch the ball on a trajectory that the low spin head was built to optimize. You cannot adapt your way into a swing speed you have not had in 15 years. And you should not have to. Here is the uncomfortable truth that ties this together. The driver industry needs you to upgrade every 18 months. The research and development cycle demands it. The retail floor requires it. But the actual performance gain for a senior golfer between model years is not zero, it is negative. You are paying more to get less. The new driver costs $600 and makes your dispersion worse. The old driver, already in your bag, already paid for, hits more fairways right now. That is a hard truth to swallow if you have already bought into the upgrade narrative, but this channel exists to give you the data you need to make smarter choices. Subscribe so you do not miss the next time conventional wisdom gets flipped on its head. In the comments, type negative upgrade if you have ever bought a new driver and felt it actually made your game worse. If you have ever pulled a shiny new driver out of the box, hit 3 ugly slices that curved across 2 fairways, and immediately thought, I need to get used to it. That was not adaptation. That was your body fighting a design that was not built for your swing. The club is the wrong tool for the job, and no amount of practice will fix it. The solution is not complicated. First, ignore the release year cycle entirely if your swing speed is below 90 miles per hour. The carbon fiber face and adjustable weight tracks are not for you. They are for the 28-year-old who plays twice a week and generates ball speed numbers that make the low spin head work. You get the marketing cost without the performance benefit. Second, keep last year's head and invest the $600 somewhere else. A professional fitting with a good shaft costs half that and transforms how the old head performs. A dozen premium golf balls and 3 lessons with a teaching pro who understands senior swing mechanics will improve your score more than any driver upgrade ever could. Third, pay attention to the date code on what you already own. The driver from 3 seasons ago is not worn out. The face has not lost its spring. The forgiveness has not degraded. Golf club technology plateaus faster than the industry admits. And the useful lifespan of a quality driver head is longer than most golfers realize. There is one element that does degrade, and it is the part of the club everyone overlooks: the shaft. Over time, the fibers micro-crack, the flex profile shifts, and the feel becomes inconsistent. A $40 graphite shaft replacement from a reputable brand can restore the performance of a head that was already good. That is not a compromise. That is a smarter use of your equipment budget than buying the whole new assembly. What happens when you take that old head to a competent club fitter, have them measure your actual swing speed and tempo, and install a shaft that matches your mechanics? The result is a driver that fits you better than anything off the shelf, at a fraction of the price. That is not opinion. That is the data from the same Fairway study. $40 shaft, $600 head. The math should not work, but it does. And it will keep working until the industry figures out how to charge you for the knowledge that your old driver was the right one all along. If you are ready to stop letting the pro shop tell you what to buy, this is the moment to lock in. Subscribe to join a community that values real performance over retail hype. In the comments, write data over marketing if you agree that knowing the facts is the most powerful upgrade you can make. The quiet victory here is not about saving money, though you will. It is about reclaiming the authority over your own game. Every time the industry tells you that you need something new to stay relevant on the course, they are selling a story of decline. The message is subtle but corrosive. Your best golf is behind you, and a new piece of equipment is the only way to slow the slide. That story is false. The data from the Fairways study, the TrackMan numbers from the California lab, the controlled tests from independent sources all point in the same direction. For the senior golfer who swings with tempo and precision rather than brute force, the equipment that fits your actual swing is the equipment that performs. That might be ahead from 2 years ago. It might be 3, it might be 5. The driver you have right now, the one with the scuff marks on the sole and the honest wear pattern on the face, is not a symbol of obsolescence. It is a piece of engineering that has already proven it can hit fairways. The question is not whether it is old enough to replace. The question is whether it is matched to the way you actually swing, or whether you have been talked into believing that new always means better. There is a strange kind of freedom in knowing this. The next time you walk into a pro shop and see the gleaming new drivers lined up like museum pieces, you will not feel the tug of inadequacy. You will see the marketing for what it is. A system designed to separate you from your money by making you doubt what you already know about your own swing. The ball does not care what year the club was manufactured. It only cares about the face angle at impact, the path of the swing, and the speed of the strike. Those 3 variables are determined by your mechanics, your tempo, and your confidence. Not by a carbon fiber badge or a weight track you will never adjust. Keep your old driver. Spend the $600 on something that actually changes your game. A handful of lessons with a pro who understands the senior swing, a weekend at a course you have always wanted to play, or a bag of the best balls you can find. The scorecard will reflect the difference. The marketing never will. Every time you stand over a tee shot with a club that fits, there is a quiet confidence that no marketing campaign can replicate. It is the feeling of knowing the tool in your hands matches the job you are about to do. That confidence changes how you swing. It relaxes the grip, smooths the transition, and lets the club do what it was designed to do. The industry will never tell you this because it threatens the entire upgrade cycle. The carbon fiber revolution, the adjustable hosels, the AI-optimized faces, these are genuine engineering achievements, but they were optimized for a golfer who does not look like you. The benefit you are told to chase was never designed for your swing in the first place. So here is the question worth sitting with. Not whether your driver is old enough to replace, not whether the new model promises 3 more yards on the launch monitor, but whether the club in your hands right now, with the right shaft and the right weight configuration, is capable of hitting more fairways than the one in the pro shop window. The evidence from the Fairways study, from the California TrackMan lab, from the controlled MyGolfSpy comparisons, points to an answer the industry does not want you to hear. For the senior golfer who swings with rhythm and precision, the driver that fits is almost never the one that just arrived in the pro shop. It is the one that has been in your bag long enough to prove what it can do. The most powerful upgrade you will ever make is not a new head. It is the decision to trust what the data actually shows, rather than what the advertising tells you to believe. That trust will keep more balls in the fairway, more rounds under 90, and more money in your pocket than any retail release ever will.